Okay, hi guys, welcome back to the Audio Levels channel and welcome back to another review. Today we are taking a look at the Kinera Baldr 2. This is a very special earphone. Before we get into this, I just want to first say I'm sorry for being away for like 2 weeks. I was extremely sick for about 10 days and I'm just getting back into the swing of things. So I do have a lot of earphones backed up right now. I think I have about 20 earphones, DAPs, DACs, that sort of stuff. So there's going to be lots and lots and lots of reviews in the coming 2 weeks. I'm going to be uploading daily for the next 2 weeks. So go ahead and subscribe for that if you want to see all the latest products that are coming out. Other reason to go ahead and subscribe is that yes, if this video still goes up in October, then I'm still giving away the $100 voucher to Linsol at the end of this month, and I'm going to do it again next month, basically giving away all the AdSense revenue from this channel. And I'm giving it away to a subscriber in the form of a Linsol voucher. So that will be the same in November and then something a little bit crazy in December. So you don't have to do anything like comment or so on, just subscribe to the channel and we'll do a draw. So yeah, let's get into this. This is the Kinera Baldr 2, B-A-L-D-R, and it's the second version of it. It's a stunning earphone, but you're going to pay through the nose for this one. This is 1,399-ish recommended retail price on this, and that's roughly what I'm seeing it go as. So I do have a few other earphones here for select comparisons. I have the original Campfire Audio Solaris as well as the Solaris 2020. I have the BESaudioreview Penta and the Fearless Audio Roland. Other ones that I would be comparing it to from my collection are probably the Sony 1ZRs, the IEMS 2. That's the sort of ballpark that this earphone is playing in, and it's not going to be for everybody, but if it's for you, my god, it is a special sounding earphone. So before we get into all the little technicalities and stuff like that, let's take a look as always at the packaging. And I'm going to try and get through this review a little bit faster and not make it 30 minutes as usual. So Kinera's packaging is a little bit bonkers. It's a really nice creative packaging. It comes in this box basically, but it does have this sort of Chinese fascination of putting random English sentences all over the box. So you have "Light shall bloom once more." You have "Live only for honor." But up the top you do get the basic information that you need. So it's using a 7mm dynamic driver, it's using a 2 Knowles balanced armature, and it's using 4 Sonion EST drivers. So I talk about this a few times. The reason that you want to have multiple different driver technologies in an earphone is that you're getting the best characteristics for each area of the sound spectrum. Bass traditionally is very well depicted with a large volume and moving dynamic driver, you know, the big speaker cones that you're probably familiar with in the speaker world. That moves a lot of air, so it's better to recreate sub-bass, for example. Balanced armature is a very small pin that sort of moves backwards and forwards really fast, but it's not got the ability to move a lot of air, which is why a lot of companies compensate by using multiple balanced armatures, especially in the low end. But it still doesn't quite give that characteristic. Another drawback I've often seen in balanced armatures is in the highs. It can sometimes be tuned a little bit metallic, especially when you're using a lot of balanced armatures. EST drivers are basically electrostatics, and they have a very thin diaphragm that moves back and forward very fast, and it's not got a lot of weight to it, so it's able to reproduce those highs really well. So you're getting sort of the best technology for the highs in the EST, the best for the mids in the balanced armature, and then you're getting the weight of a dynamic driver to really try and recreate that sub-bass experience. It's got the gold-plated cable, which is quite a stunner. We'll get into that in a second. And it has the stable wood cavity, which God knows what that means. But it is a stunning shell that's on this. It's an all-wooden shell. So let's get that to the side. On the inside, there's a little bit more crafted with elegance involved in perfection. Thank you for choosing Kinera Imperial. Thank you. Special thanks to Sound Earth. whoever sound editor are, thank you very much. Now, with the Skuld, this is the Kinera Skuld, absolutely stunning all balanced armature set of earphones. You also get one of these. This is like a little information pack on it, and again you have Kinera Imperial Community, and they have some of the most bonkers marketing in the Skuld. But this one they sort of laid off it a little bit. Baldr, the god of Nordic mythology, is loved by many people as the incarnation of the sun, symbolizing endless energy, nurturing all things in the world with love. It has an enviable, glorious beauty, and everyone loves it. What the hell is that doing in my earphone box? Stop it. Just call it the Baldr and move on. Oak is regarded as a symbol of Baldr due to the tough quality. Kinera's Imperial latest flagship IEM, Baldr 2, uses the best durable tumour wood in oak tree, utilising 16 meticulously crafted processes to ensure blah 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 blah. Basically, they're talking about this shell, and you can see the shell on it is just gorgeous. It is real wood, and it is finished absolutely beautifully. And we'll go back into that when we talk about the build quality, but let's get on with the packaging. So nonsense aside, you get the usual frequency response chart and user manual. You don't know how to use earphones, that's not good for you. With this you get an excellent selection of tips. The tips that come with this are absolutely fantastic. You get various sizes, extra large, large, medium, small and small. You get a couple of sizes of the comply style tips. You get a really nice Kinera carry case. It's semi-rigid, different areas on the inside, and you get even more tips. Loads and loads of tips. You'll not have a problem getting a good fit with these. And then you get a couple of adapters. So some companies like File and I believe Dunu, they use these interchangeable adapters, and I believe that Kinera are actually coming out with an interchangeable adapter as well. But for now, this earphone comes with the little adapter plugs, which I'm not really a fan of because it kind of extends the straight line plug length. You know, if I plug that in, that's quite a long plug to be having if you're out and about. But fortunately for somebody that's probably going to be using an earphone like this, at this sort of price point, you're probably going to have a DAP or a DAC that is, you know, this is the IBASO DX300 and it has the 4.4 balanced on it, as does the Dithunray Honey H1. So for me, that's not a problem. If you're, you know, you can pick up a cheap like $20 Triptone cable or something like that if you really wanted to use it with your smartphone. But I suspect somebody that's using an earphone as expensive as this is going to be using it with a dedicated DAP, because why would you not want to get the most out of an earphone that is very, very capable? The cable is kind of one of these. It's not the best cable I've seen, but it is quite a nice cable. It's lightweight, it has a very loose braid to it, and it does have a little bit of memory retention, but it's nothing bad. Over time it started to settle down, definitely. It has a quad braid going into a dual twist, which is very common in the marketplace right now. The good thing about that is it cuts down on microphonics. Basically, any microphonics picked up here cannot go past the next point of where it's touching the rest of the cables. It has nice hardware on it. It's got the 4.4mm balanced, as I said, with the Kinera logo. Little ridge indented into it to make it easier to grip because there is no knurling on this one. It has the strain relief there. It's got the little, sort of generic cable tie. It has a metal splitter there, and then it has a little ball bead cable cinch, which I like. And then going up to the top, you've got the usual hooks, and it does actually terminate in just a slightly recessed 2-pin connector, if you can see it in there. There is a very, very slight recess, which is something that I do really like about it. Build quality. Let me take the cable off again, and we'll do the cable test. So you can see the cable works perfectly fine. I would personally use it with a Duno cable. I just think it's worth spending that extra money for one of the Duno cables. I like the interchangeable connectors. So you can see here that the earphones themselves are stunning. I mean, really one of the best looking earphones, and I hope the video does justice to this. It is absolutely gorgeous, and it's a nice departure from the resin style. You're getting that ergonomic function of the resin shell type stuff, but you're getting it with that wood, and it's just gorgeous to look at. Every time I pick these up, I can't stop looking at them. They're really quite stunning. I'm not the biggest fan of the colorway, the sort of orangey look, but it is stunning. Once you get them in hand, I really can't express like how good these look. Size wise, you're talking slightly bigger than the Roland in terms of depth. They do have quite a depth to them. That's fine in my ears. My ears are sort of medium size. I don't have a problem with that. But even against something like the Campfire Audio Solaris 2020, which is considered a big earphone, this one has even more depth there, albeit a little bit more ergonomically friendly in the styling of this one. So one of the other things I want to talk about here is that there is there's no lip on it. So if these get a little bit sweaty or a little bit wet, just be careful taking them out your ears. You might get an ear tip stuck in your ear, which is a little bit of a pain in the ass. But usually what I do with that, and I'm hesitant to do it with this, is I usually scuff it up a little bit with, in the resin ones, I scuff it up with a little bit of sandpaper, just very lightly, and that allows the tips to grip a little bit better. I've not had these come off, but that's just something I've seen in the past with this sort of design. Now, let's get into sound quality. Sound quality on this is absolutely mind-blowing phenomenal. Is it worth the price? Yes, I would say so. Is it worth more than the price? No, I don't think so. I think it's in that sort of $1,500-ish range. It definitely competes with offering an alternative to something like the Mest. It's definitely a step up over the Roland, just ever so slightly in terms of the presentation of the treble. The other one, like in that sort of price range, is the Campfire Audio Solaris 2020. The Campfire Audio Solaris 2020 is a very special sounding earphone in terms of the smoothness of the presentation in combination with the clarity and detail. It is a very, very listenable earphone. This is a more in-your-face presentation in terms of overwhelming you with the detail. If we're going to talk about the specific areas of the spectrum, if we start off at the bass, the bass is very good. It is very detailed, and I believe that there's some overlap happening there from the balanced armatures are picking up somewhere in the mid-bass region and then extending into the mid-range. So you get this experience of a nice detailed rich mid-bass presentation where you've got a little bit of the weight coming from the dynamic driver, but you've also got the balanced armatures giving that detail and nuance, which shows itself really, really well in these earphones with sort of jazz and classical music. You know, when you have textured stringed bass, things like that, these shine really, really well. Even in bass solos, like rock and roll bass solos and stuff like that, the texture and the sort of decay of the notes is fantastic in this. The sub bass is good, but it is not is not in any ways a sub-bassy earphone. There's a few of these earphones. This one does well in sub-bass, this does well in sub-bass, and even the Roland does well. I would say this is fantastic, bass-wise. This is more quality than quantity you're getting in the bass, and I think it's because they're using that tighter 7mm driver as opposed to a sort of bigger 10-12mm driver. You would get more volume of air moving through it. So it's not by any means a bass heads earphone. This is tuned with a slight extension in the bass, but it's not a prominent sort of feeling ethereal deep sub bass. It is a punchy, tight and control bass with lots of detail into the mid bass. There's absolutely no bass bleed going on in this at all. There's absolutely nothing that leaks over into the mid-range, which is very, very good, and what you would expect for this price point. The balanced armatures in the mid-range, they just do their job. This is kind of, you know, if you get two good quality balanced armatures just working away, they just do their job. There's plenty of detail there. There's smoothness. There's no warmth on this one. It's a neutralish sound, and it's just very clear, very accurate, very distinct. There's way more ways that you can add. I was using this with the little hi-fi. Is it the hi-fi Blue Go or something like that? Which has this X-bass function, and X-space, and my God, that sings. That for a little amp, that thing is awesome. But even with the Dothonry Honey H1, like playing about, this is a pairing made in heaven. This is a little bit of a cooler pairing, just with the stock setup. The Dothonry Honey H1 and these are phenomenal sounding. They just have that way that they play off each other with the sort of lushness of the Dothonry, complementing the more neutralish mid-range of this. But detail retrieval is fantastic on this. But the absolute shining star of this earphone is the treble by far. For EST drivers, you know there's going to be a focus there on treble, and this does it with so much detail, which creates so much sound space. It's just there's something about treble when it is done well, and I consider myself a treble head. That doesn't mean that I like pukey treble. That means that I appreciate when an earphone gives good treble, because the treble is one of these areas where you don't usually notice on consumer grade earphones, and then you move up to something with good treble, like Tin Hi-Fi P1 or something like that, you know, take that little bump, and then you just get overwhelmed with this detail. From the mid bass and the treble, you feel like you're getting this extra layer of detail. It creates separation, it creates all that good stuff. It's got sparkle, it's got energy, and it just sounds absolutely fantastic to me. It's definitely tuned more towards something that the Eastern market's going to prefer. I don't know if you're aware of this, but the Eastern market, earphone market, is definitely more leaning, and you know, 10 years ago it used to be so heavily leaned towards treble where you would almost have no bass. Now they're sort of accommodating for the bass as the K-pop and J-pop stuff like starts to move towards having more of a pronounced bass line. But they still have that emphasis, especially on female vocals. Even the male vocals from K-pop stars and J-rock stars is very prominent in the sort of treble area or the upper mid-range. And this does very, very, very well with all those genres of music. Metal as well. Metal performed absolutely fantastic with this. If I was listening to something like acoustic rock or something like that, or predominantly my genres were Western EDM type music, I would definitely go with something like the Solaris or the Roland. The Roland would be really good for that. It's punchy enough. The UMT Mest, again, like absolutely fantastic for those genres. The one that I brought in, the BESaudio Rai Penta, fantastically overpriced. For example, this is $1,000-ish, maybe a little bit more. It's not even in the realm of any of these. It's not even in the realm of TRIBRIDs nowadays. And I think that's sort of testament to the way that Chi-Fi has started to go. So this is definitely going to be one of my main references going forward. I think it qualifies really well as a reference earphone for me, and something that I'll go back and compare other ones to. I'm still going to keep the Solaris and probably these two and the IEMS, which I don't have here because of COVID and all that. But yeah, like that is a good reference for around about the $1,500 mark. I love these earphones. They're not going to be for everybody, as I say. You need to appreciate treble to really appreciate what these earphones are doing. But I think we can all agree that they are one of the best looking earphones to date. So I'm going to cut this under 20 minutes now. I get 10 seconds to go. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a comment if you want any recommendations, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video tomorrow.